Osun is voting today, but already questions are being raised about what is happening at polling units across the state. Vote-buying allegations against both major parties, a senator's campaign spokesperson saying he can't reach the police situation room, Afrobeat star Davido claiming soldiers are blocking him from entering the state, a claim a former presidential aide is publicly calling dramatic, and a fresh lawsuit landing in Abuja, entirely separate from Osun, that's now part of today's news cycle anyway. What happens in the next few hours could determine not only who controls Osun State, but also how Nigeria's political parties read the road to 2027. Let's get into what's actually confirmed. If you want verified Osun election updates without the noise, subscribe to ThePolicyPulseHQ. We follow the story, check the claims, and wait for the receipts. Let's get into it. Osun State is voting today, Saturday, August 15, 2026 for governor, a date INEC itself rescheduled from an original August 8 date. Voting is scheduled to run from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. across 3,763 polling units in 332 wards across all 30 local government areas. 2,339,223 voters are registered, of whom roughly 1.9 million had collected their permanent voter cards as at the latest count and are eligible to actually vote today. 15 political parties are on the ballot, but this is functionally a contest between three names: incumbent Governor Ademola Adeleke of the Accord Party, Muniruddin Bola Oyebamiji of the APC, and Najeem Salaam of the ADC. President Bola Tinubu issued a public statement today calling on INEC and security agencies to ensure a peaceful, transparent election and urged voters to come out and exercise their franchise while avoiding any act that could disrupt the process. INEC Commissioner for Osun, Oluwatoyin Babalola, said the commission's priority was improving the timeliness of presiding officer deployment and confirmed 4,427 BVAS devices, including 664 backup units, were prepared for today's election. Here's something worth being precise about. The most detailed reporting available on BVAS performance comes from a mock accreditation exercise conducted roughly 2 weeks before today, not from this morning's actual voting. During that mock accreditation, BVAS machines reportedly stopped functioning around 9:36 a.m. in some polling units, prompting a coalition of civil society groups to demand INEC explain the failures. INEC's chairman, Professor Yoash Amupitan, subsequently said the specific glitch, machines failing to recognize some older PVCs, had been resolved, and the commission declared full readiness for today. We do not, at time of writing, have confirmed verified reporting specifically describing BVAS performance during today's actual accreditation. If you are watching this after polls have closed, check for updated confirmed reporting on that specific point before assuming either the mock exercise problems or INEC's fixed confirmation directly describes what happened today. INEC separately clarified today that its result viewing portal, iRev, functions only as a viewing platform for uploaded results, not, in the Commission's words, an adding machine, addressing questions that had circulated following the recent Ekiti governorship election. Police announced movement restrictions across Osun State from midnight until 6 p.m. today, a standard security measure for Nigerian elections generally, not something unique to Osun. Police also announced restrictions on Amutekun and other non-police security outfits from polling units specifically. The Adeleke campaign spokesperson, Pelumi Olajangbesi, said today that the residence of the Osun State House of Assembly Speaker was surrounded by armed personnel, according to the Adeleke camp. Olajangbesi said the campaign's attempts to reach the Commissioner of Police overseeing election security, the Deputy Inspector General in charge of the election, and the Police Situation Room were all unsuccessful. He specifically said the publicly listed Situation Room number was switched off. None of these specific claims have been independently confirmed by police as of this writing, and we do not have a police response to them yet. Separately, a report citing the Adeleke Campaign Council alleged 86 Accord Party members had been arrested and detained in Kefi and Kuje prisons, a claim which, according to the same report, the relevant commissioner of police said he was not aware of. That's a direct contradiction between an allegation and a named official's response, and it remains unresolved. Afrobeat star Davido, Governor Adeleke's nephew, posted today that soldiers were trying to block him from entering Osun State. His post gained significant traction and drew mixed reactions online. Former presidential media aide Bashir Ahmad responded directly and publicly, calling Davido's claim dramatic and pointing out that the statewide movement restriction from midnight to 6 p.m. had already been widely announced by security operators as a standard election day measure, applied evenly, not a targeted restriction. As of this writing, both Davido's original claim and Bashir Ahmad's rebuttals are on the public record. Neither has been independently adjudicated. Separately, ADC presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, speaking 3 days ago before today's vote, had already warned INEC, security agencies, and the Tinubu administration against what he called militarizing the Osun election, saying the scale of security deployment looked more like preparation for war than a civil democratic exercise, and asked why similar security capacity wasn't deployed against terrorists and kidnappers elsewhere in the country. That's a broader, pre-existing concern, not a reaction to any single incident today.
Both major parties are accusing each other of vote buying today, according to Saturday Punch reporting. Party agents from both APC and Accord are reported offering voters between 10,000 naira and 20,000 naira, with the practice reportedly beginning roughly 6 days before today's vote, earlier than in previous Osun elections, according to the same report. According to that reporting, parties reportedly collected voters' account numbers in advance, with plans to credit accounts after voting, and in some cases reportedly organized voters into groups of 100 with a collective payment offer before shifting to smaller individual payments. This is a media report describing what agents from both parties are reportedly doing. It is not an official finding by police, INEC, or any court, and no individual has been named as personally directing this in the reporting reviewed for this script. Here's something that deserves equal airtime because it complicates the vote-buying narrative in an important way. A survey conducted by Iterative Learning for Development in partnership with the Kimpact Development Initiative, published in the days before today's vote, found that 84.39% of registered voters surveyed said they would not vote for a candidate or party that offered them money. This despite the same survey finding 62.53% of respondents came from households that had not had sufficient food in the past month. In other words, the vote-buying activity described in campaign reporting is real and documented, but a credible pre-election survey suggests the large majority of Osun voters say they will not be swayed by it, even under genuine economic hardship. Whether stated survey intentions match actual voting behavior is something only today's actual result can answer. Beyond the vote-buying and alleged detention claims already covered, the Adeleke campaign's public position today, through spokesperson Ola Jengbesi, is that the people of Osun State deserve an atmosphere free from fear and intimidation, and that security deployment must inspire confidence and protect the integrity of the electoral process, a direct call for security neutrality, not an accusation of a specific act by any named officer in the reporting reviewed for this script. The APC has not, in what's available at time of writing, issued a direct today-specific rebuttal to the detention or armed personnel allegations. On the separate BVAS question from the mock exercise 2 weeks ago, APC spokesperson Chief Kola Olabisi had said the point of a mock exercise was precisely to catch and correct such problems before the real election, framing the glitches as the system working as intended rather than a red flag. Both parties are accused by reporting of engaging in vote buying. Neither party has, in what's available at time of writing, issued a specific on-record denial of the practice as reported today. This should be checked for updates as the day progresses.
Adeleke first won Osun in 2022, defeating then APC incumbent Goyega Oyetola by a 3.5% margin on a turnout of just 42.16%. He's since moved from that original party to the Accord platform, an unusual move Channels Television described as unprecedented, seeking re-election not under the party that first elected him, but under what it called a fringe party. Analytically, that reframes today's central question. Will Osun voters follow Adeleke personally, or does the APC's more established party machinery matter more than incumbency and personal brand? Channels Television's own framing called this a potential preview of 2027, a test of whether personal political brands can outperform traditional party structures nationally. Both major candidates have real institutional weight behind them. Adeleke as sitting governor, Oyebamiji backed by the national ruling party and former Governor Goyega Oyetola, now a federal minister. That's why national figures including President Tinubu and ADC's Atiku Abubakar are both weighing in on a single state governorship race. Voting closes at 2:30 p.m. today. After that, counting happens at each of the 3,763 polling units individually, in the open, in view of party agents and accredited observers. Results from each polling unit are then transmitted toward collation at ward, local government, and finally state level. INEC has said results not properly reconciled through BVAS will not upload to the IREV portal, a safeguard the Commission says protects the integrity of the process. IREV itself, as INEC clarified today, functions only as a public viewing platform for results, not as the mechanism that calculates or adds them. No result should be treated as final or official until INEC's own returning officers make a formal declaration. Anything circulating on social media before that point, regardless of the source, should be treated as unconfirmed.
Do you believe today's election is being conducted fairly so far? And based on what you're seeing, who do you think has the advantage? If you want the verified Osun election updates without the noise, subscribe to ThePolicyPulseHQ. We follow the story, check the claims, and wait for the receipts.